Hey, it's Seto Kaiba, and you're watching Anime Egotists. I don't know why. These guys don't know how to duel, unless they learned from Yugi, who cheats, or maybe Joey, who's a dog. Oh, why don't you have some more jelly donuts, like Brock, and maybe you'll get better. Not. Oh, and I play my Blue Eyes White Dragon and kick your butts.
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where actually Captain Yami would accept us in the Black Bulls.
Yeah, we just have to bring him food while he's sitting on the toilet.
That actually seems like it'd be pretty easy, but he also doesn't like people interrupting him, so it's kind of a double-edged sword when you think about it.
Exactly.
Anyways though, my name's Alex, and in all honesty, I don't know if I'd like a lot of anime characters being brought here. It just seems like it'd be too much of a culture shock.
Yeah, their kind of over-the-top reactions to everything would be weird.
Yeah.
And I'm Richard.
That's correct. And speaking of over the top, shipping can be a pretty over the top thing in anime. And as I've said before, I know there are tons of shippers out there who are cool, nice people. At the same time, though, a lot of it gets kind of crazy sometimes, doesn't it, Richard?
Yeah, especially in, I would say shonen are probably the worst, because when your favorite character doesn't get with your favorite choice of the love interest, they get angry.
Yeah, that is correct. But we didn't really want to talk about our favorite ships or least favorite ships or whatever. We tried to be a little bit different, because everybody deserves love in some way if they choose, and sometimes you can find love in the most random places, and that's what we decided to do today.
Yeah, we kind of picked the ones that were like, oh, they would be an interesting couple. They haven't really pushed them to be together, but just sort of who randomly put together and what their relationship would be.
Exactly. They could be characters that have never interacted every now and then, but never characters who were forcefully pushed together. Do you mind if I start?
Go right ahead.
Alright, with how much people know us to be the Pokemon fans, I kind of had to throw one in there, especially because we got a little bit of help for the thumbnail from our friend Empearts, or Empearts, I'm so sorry, I never figured out how to pronounce this, who did great work on the thumbnail, so thank you for this. So I have to start with the first pairing that I decided to randomly throw together from Pokemon, Wally and Lisia.
Okay.
Oh god, this is going to be kind of a tough one. Honestly, because as much as I like Lisia, there's a tiny part of me that thinks maybe she's somewhat insane with how happy and cheery she is performing her contests. Not to mention, we all know Wally, this shy yet still smart kid who is very polite and wouldn't do a whole lot to make anybody angry. Honestly, part of me just thinks maybe Lisia could bring out the confidence in Wally, or just a more fired up side of him, while at the same time he still thinks to himself, I am terrified of this girl, please help me.
Yeah, she keeps dragging him on stage every time she wins so that she can celebrate with her boyfriend, and he absolutely hates it.
Yeah, and the whole audience is like, we will destroy you, kid. And Wally could just say, could you please stop? And she's just like, no. In all seriousness, she wouldn't be a bad person. And for him, she's just like, look, I just want you to be more confident, because when you're confident, you do better. And maybe at the same time, he can kind of show her, hey, you're a celebrity, but you don't always have to be in celebrity mode. You can take your mask off. You can relax a little bit. Just that sort of thing.
I could see that for them. It would be a good relationship, I think, overall for both of them. I really don't have much to add, because both have, unfortunately, very little character development in the anime, if any. So,
and in the games too.
Well, that's true. I also could see like Galatis threatening all the people who are threatening Wally. Glade just comes out its Pokeball on its own and just starts like
just starts swinging randomly. No, back off. We're fine. They just want an autograph, and Galade's just like, if it even has fingers to do the I'm watching you thing. I don't know. We don't look at the anatomy of Pokemon all that much, but like you said, they're thrown together. Wally, Lisia, they could both bring some good stuff out of each other and lead to some admittedly hilarious moments.
Okay. I could see it. I think that would be a good pairing.
Sure, let's move on.
All right. This is one that I don't think you'll be able to talk much about. Unfortunately, it's Cana and Orga from Fairy Tail.
I don't know either of those characters, so no.
So Kana is kind of from the same generation as Natsu and all the main cast, but a little bit older. She can drink anyone under the table, and that's kind of where I view their relationship starting. Is the end of the Grand Magic Games. They're celebrating their win against the dragons and all that. Orgara is from the enemy guild Sabretooth that ends up becoming an ally at this point. And I could see her drinking him under the table, and she just keeps bringing him around, and like he's constantly trying to outdrink her is kind of their relationship.
You're my only competition. You guys do know that alcohol poisoning does still exist in this universe. So, oh, they're still going. Okay, yeah.
But she just keeps out drinking him, and it's for some reason he can outdrink anybody but her, and it's just that's the entire relationship. And the thing is, I could see this happening. That's the thing.
Is this something you're dreaming of? Is this your future spouse? Because I feel like they would be drinking with you.
Possibly.
I was gonna say Reese, but he's married now, so I can't make those jokes.
But yeah, it's the thing is though that they're both very strong members of their guilds, so I could also see them being good partners. One, she uses card magic and he uses black lightning, pretty much, which in that world is Godslayer magic, if I remember correctly. So I could see it being an interesting combination where she uses her cards to enhance his magic or something.
Does magic get passed down? Like, if hypothetically, if they had a kid, would their kid get one or some weird mix of their powers, or does that have nothing to do with it?
Magic is mostly learned. You can have proficiencies where you kind of know which magic you're going to be able to use, but and a lot of times the person who teaches you magic is a parent, so you get one of their magics a lot of the time.
Okay, all right. One day we can do that. One day we're gonna do that. What our fairy tale magic powers, whatever thing would be, and I will be ready someday, maybe.
You got to watch a few episodes just to understand everything.
And I can do that. But in all honesty, they do sound like they'd be strong, and they do sound like they are drinkers. So in some cases, I guess it works.
Exactly. So your next one?
All right. I talk about Tomoko from Watamote a good bit, but sadly, I think I might be ruining her life in some senses, because I pick Tomoki Kuroki and Yu Naruse.
Okay.
Her brother and her best friend.
That sucks, unfortunately for her.
Okay, in all honesty, one of the things about Yu is, unlike Tomoko, who's super depressing and sad, Yu's actually incredibly friendly and nice to people. Well, even hugging Tomoko when Tomoko's like, I still don't know how you and I are best friends at this point. And her brother is, well, basically the same. Tomoko's brother's almost kind of the same as her. Very cynical, but he has a lot of friends. He's cynical. He doesn't really like talking to people that much. That sort of thing. In all honesty, they both could kind of bring out a side of each other, in my opinion. Like, you could kind of show Tomoki, hey, you're allowed to smile and have fun every now and then. You can relax a bit. While Tomoki could show you, look, my sister is not necessarily... She's not necessarily doing great, but she is trying. Because as much as I like you, it kind of feels like she doesn't completely pick up on the fact that Tomoko might not be the happiest person on the planet. So in a way, it could help.
Okay, be interesting with them having those different personalities, but I just don't know.
Trust me, I didn't mean it in the sense of these two are going to get married. I just meant in the sense of this lasts like 2 or 3 episodes, and then we just forget it ever happened.
Oh, so like most anime.
Yeah, exactly. But in all honesty, we never, for two big people in Tomoko's life, we don't really see them interact all that much. Almost to the point where you kind of start to wonder, are they in different series? What's going on?
I'll co-sign. I haven't seen much of this show, so I'll leave it up for you to decide on this one.
Hey, they were supposed to be characters who were randomly thrown together. What do you expect?
I know, but as I said, I'll co-sign. This is another show I should give it a shot. I just need time to finally give it a shot.
Be prepared. No matter how prepared you are, it's still not enough because this show gets cringeworthy. I love it and I love Tomoko dearly, but dear lord.
I've been giving a few more animes a shot, so
I'm not even asking you to, but yes. That's Tomoki and Yu, because maybe it could work.
I can understand it. All right, so my next one.
Go for it.
So you might be able to talk a little bit about this one. It's Tashigi and Zoro from One Piece. They had a little bit of interaction early on in the series, but I could see this one eventually coming together if like there's discovered something with the world government. But it's just Zoro. I could see their relationship literally being Tashigi chasing Zoro around trying to get his high value swords and high craftsmanship swords away from him. The entire like she's kind of been doing, but that could have been a lot more of the focus in this relationship. Just her trying to beat him and get the swords that she views as being wasted on a pirate.
I would love if there was a scene where him and Sanji are fighting over something. She tries to help Zoro win. It's like, no, I have to beat it. No, I beat him thanks to your help. It doesn't count now. And Sanji's just like, technically, this feels like a win for me.
Yeah, I can see that. And Sanji's always trying to flirt with her just because that's who Sanji is. And uh, for some reason, Zoro just this is like the one time Zoro actually gets angry and but doesn't he never admits that he likes her.
I could definitely see that. So, but okay, I don't know how many episodes of One Piece would you say you're at? Like just a rough estimate.
I'm somewhere between 800 and 900. I'm still in the Whole Cake Island arc. I've recently got rid of Funimation, so I don't have access to the dub right now. So I'm trying to decide what if I'm going to switch over to the sub on Crunchyroll and finish catching up there, or what I'm going to do with that.
They don't have the dub on. Never mind. I guess I was just thinking, hey, from what I've heard, now this technically can't be a spoiler because it's just stuff I've heard and I don't know if it's true or not. But isn't something going on with Zoro and Robin? Maybe I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea.
I haven't heard anything, but again, I'm not caught up with the manga, so if there's something going on there, but as of what I know, there's nothing going on between them, at least where the anime is.
Huh, maybe I just threw that in there. Maybe my fan fiction's starting to leak out. But overall, yeah, I could see that. I always thought she was kind of interesting. And even if me personally, Zoro settling down, I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just something I would never be used to. Like, they could show it in the last episode and I'd be like, I'm not used to this.
I kind of view it as they get to the last episode, discover whatever the history of the world is, discover that the world government's corrupt, and Tashigi's kind of one of those people that based on who she's helped and all that if she found out like how corrupt the world government is, she might even turn against them and try to work to make the world better. So I could see her kind of changing sides, or not all the way to a pirate, but being in a different position if need be.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Plus, with so many guys trying to flirt with her, you'd have to mess with Zoro to get to her. Would you mess with Zoro?
No.
No.
He's arguably the strongest Straw Hat, even if you count Luffy.
Yeah, but I can co-sign. I'm glad we were able to talk about that one.
All right, your next one?
From Beelzebub, Natsume and Tanimura.
Okay, which ones are these?
Natsume is the guy who works with Kanzuki, who doesn't really do that much fighting and will just make jokes on the sidelines. But the second he starts fighting, he just destroys everyone in his path.
Oh, he's the one that we always said was the strongest character, but just chose not to fight, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, I
And
know.
Tanimura is also, I haven't talked about her much, but she's part of the all-female group, the Red Tails. She's
Mhm.
very quiet and kind of mysterious, but she's actually kind of hilarious and absent-minded at times. Like, when all of the Red Tails are making plans to go train or complete a mission, and they'll all say, yeah, let's do it. And she'll just lift up her drink and be like, can I get another milkshake, or do we have to leave now? Just ridiculous stuff like that. No, in all seriousness, they're both kind of the oddballs of their group. So in a way, I could kind of just think to myself, they might be able to work just based on their personalities because while they both will stand up for their friends and protect their friends, they're both kind of jerks because they're just kind of cheeky.
I could see it. Once he told me which character it was, it's like, okay, now I'm starting to piece this together. So
Yeah, not to mention, I kind of want to see them fight together, or because she uses. Okay, apparently in the manga they're just air pistols, but in the anime they're just high pressure water guns, and he uses he just kind of seems to kick people. So in a way, I kind of want to see the others' reactions, where it's like, wait, you're working with one of the boys? He's That's not how this is supposed to work. But in reality, it's like, guys, we've had an we're friends now. We've had an alliance for so long. This was bound to happen at some point.
as I said, I could see it. And with them being the comedic, they don't even realize that they're uh, fighting with a boy or a girl or anything. They're just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, and a lot like there weren't a lot of people from Beelzebub I could have said, but I'm just like, I really like both of them. They're both kind of the same. They're both kind of scummy at times, but they do care about the people around them. Especially in the last episode, one of the last episodes where the boys are trying to figure out their new secret techniques, so they start putting on costumes and posing and a whole bunch of weird stuff. And all the girls walk off like they're losers, but Tani Moore is like, they look cool. I'm like, everybody needs a girl like that who sees them doing stupid stuff and is like, I'm not gonna get involved, but I respect it.
I was hoping that it would be one of those that she's just standing there holding up like a card, like 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, and then it's just one of the other boys, 0.
Honestly, it wouldn't have surprised me if that would have happened. But yeah, Natsume and Tanimura, or Chiaki. I've been calling her Chiaki for so long. Calling her Tanimura just feels odd right now.
Okay. As I said, I'll co-sign. I think that would be an interesting pairing, just knowing what some of this show has in store. So.
Yeah, basically. But that's mine.
All right. So my next one is Fatgum and Mirko from My Hero Academia. This is more of like one that I could see happening because they want to combine their quirks. His because I mean, his quirk is where he stores fat and can use it to create massive amounts of energy. And hers is she's got really strong legs because
Trust me. Even I know who this woman is, for good and sadly for bad too.
yeah. Well, I'm putting them together mainly because their kid could it could change his quirk combining with hers. So instead, they store muscle and protein and become and just get really buff instead. So it's the next generation of quirk combinations and quirk marriages, unfortunately.
I, based on the little of the show I know, I could kind of see it, but you would also have to worry about the fans who want Mirko to be with them instead. You'd have to worry about that, but have fun, I guess.
And that's why this is just kind of random characters together. They've had like next to no interactions, but I could see them getting together just kind of randomly.
Okay, sidebar. What happens if any of these ships become canon? Is it our fault?
Nah.
I mean, I guess because we've thrown it. Yeah, no. It probably isn't. It probably isn't. But at the same time, I'd kind of like think, yeah, it's our fault. What are you gonna do about it?
Because it's always our fault.
For better and for worse. But yeah, I don't know a lot about these characters, but I do definitely know me. What's her name? I know what's her name.
Mirko. I think it's like, isn't it that rabbit or something in or close to the name rabbit in Japanese, if I'm not mistaken? But
I took Spanish in college, pendejo. I don't know what you're talking about.
I took German and only barely passed. So
God, that's right. You took German. But yeah, I can co-sign Fatgum and Mirko. Hey, I said their names right.
yeah, and I think Fatgum's one of those characters that I think you would like if you watch the show.
I hear he's voiced by the same guy who voices Gohan in the English version.
I think it is. It's been a while since I heard his English dub voice because I watched the sub when the new season came out.
Oh, now you prefer sub over. Oh, forget it.
They end up like 4 or 5 weeks behind. So rather than, well, I know what happens, but yeah, I picked up the habit when I was still behind before knowing what happens.
Whatever. But yeah, I can co-sign. And if they had a kid, their powers would be pretty interesting, to say the least.
Exactly.
All right, my next one.
Go right ahead.
All right, from Osamake, rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose, Shion and Maru.
Don't know this anime, so go ahead.
All right, so I've kind of teased this before, but one of the weird things about this show is all the love interests are the childhood friends, but they're also all kind of scumbags. Like a realistic amount, like the amount you'd get annoyed at a friend for. At the same time, though, you kind of start to think to yourself, "Damn, I don't want any of these girls to win." But oddly enough, the show picked up for me when Shion showed up because she's a maid who lives in Kachi's house, and she's very protective of Kachi and everything, almost to the point where she basically tries to kill Maru over it. So not necessarily in a yandere sense, but she kind of just wants to learn more and more about Kachi. And it kind of makes sense. Shion has a pretty sad backstory. Her mother and father were together, but her mother cheated on her father and ran off. And her father basically got sick and died before the series started. So Kachi kind of took her in. Meanwhile, Maru's mom was the inspiration for him to become an actor. And when she died, he basically went into retirement. So both of these characters kind of have trauma that they're going through that in a way they could both kind of find a way to go through together. Oh, but that's more of the serious answer. The more comedic answer is they both just bicker ridiculously, but enough to the point where it feels like these are two friends who bicker with each other every day. Hey, so I don't know. They had some of the funniest interactions, but you knew they were never going to be together. But at the same time, I'm like, it wouldn't completely suck if it happened.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, when anime does relationships where they kind of recover or help each other recover from trauma, it is really nice when they do that. But again, I don't know this show well enough to really talk more about it than that.
Honestly, she might be the funniest character because she acts all high and mighty, even though she does have some semblance of intelligence. But at the same time, she gets her comeuppance just enough to where you find her a lot less annoying. I don't know why I ended up liking her so much.
Okay, this is it. I'll co-sign again. I don't know the show.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
Well, this one you should be able to talk about. It's I've decided to put TenTen and Kankuro together from Naruto.
Okay. Go ahead. I got blindsided by that one.
I just think that this it could be one of those things that they got partnered on a mission together because she's able to transport like all his puppet army or something, and it goes on for a while. Whether let's just say they're involved in the story from Uzumaki Chronicles 2, so they're battling the puppet army, and
yeah, why not?
So there we go. But I think they would be interesting at just discovering their relationship because they have like next to no interactions, if any, in the entire series.
That is fair.
And I decided it was better than putting TenTen with Neji or Rock Lee because those are kind of ships that already existed. So
yeah, I honestly thought about putting TenTen and Gaara, but I just decided against it.
No, I decided his older brother Kankuro and TenTen. It would be an interesting relationship, and I think that can make both of them seem actually more overpowered. She just provides she's just constantly giving him upgrades for his puppets. So eventually we just end up with them having like giant mechs walking around.
Yeah. Not to mention, even though Kankuro's a little bit of a jokester, he's not nearly as ridiculous as Lee and my guy. So at the same time, he could kind of be like, "This is what you go through," and she's like, "Yeah, yeah, basically."
Yeah. I think it would be absolutely hilarious also their interactions, as you were just saying, just him trying to figure it out, especially with his kind of male friends being his brother Gara, who was so serious until he was a bit older and still pretty serious, and arguably his abusive father. That's kind of it.
Yeah. And Lee can be like, "I guess that makes us in-laws," and Gara's like, "What?"
I could just see him trying to drag Gara. It's like, for his bachelor party, we should run on our hands around both villages.
I feel like at some point Gar would be like, "All right, let's do it. All right, let's do it." It's like, no, Gar, you don't actually have to. It's like, oh, but I've done 400 already. How?
The sand helps me stay balanced.
Oh, God. His back would be destroyed after carrying that giant gourd. But yeah, definitely one that kind of blew me away. But I'm okay with it. I can co-sign onto it.
All right, so your next one?
Honorable mentions time.
Yep.
All right, technically this is a game, so this kind of feels like cheating, but it's an honorable mention, and it's an anime, so I also kind of don't care. From Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Duel Links, Kylie and Madison.
Which ones are these? I just
Okay, so when you play, you know the random standard duelists in
Yeah.
Duel Links, right?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah, Madison is the one from Obelisk Blue who's very serious. It's like, don't waste my, like, know this. Don't waste my time. It's very cold to the player. And then you beat her and she's like, oh, I guess I have a lot to learn. Like, very kind of kudere-ish. Very stone cold and serious.
Okay.
Kylie's an Obelisk Blue student, and she's the one who says the really weird catchphrases and stuff. She's like, time for another fun tag-less duel. I got you. Oh yeah, just a bunch of ridiculously stupid one-liners that I think you might have an idea of who I'm talking about at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played into in the GX world, because it seems like the only ones that get events are the two based on dual monsters and like the three newer series.
Yeah, basically. But in all seriousness, I would kind of like to think that Kylie would just be Madison would kind of just be in charge of Kylie, like, hey, don't do anything stupid, or don't do or say anything ridiculously stupid. And Kylie's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and basically just has that high energy. And in all seriousness, it could lead to Madison maybe smiling a bit more and just finding a reason to just enjoy life and be happy. Not that she's a super depressing character or anything, but just a reason to lighten up, that sort of thing.
I could see it. I saw Madison. I don't think Kylie's on my world right now. So,
Oh,
but
okay, yeah.
yeah, I was just looking there just to see if I remembered. And once I saw Madison, I knew exactly. It's like, yeah, I remember her seriousness.
Yeah, if you saw Kylie, you would know. You'd be like, oh yeah, her. And yes, I put two girls together. Anybody has a problem, I can't help you.
Well, that's fine because I have some as well. I'll just do it now. It's Tatsuki and Chizuru from Bleach. So this is Orihime's best friend, the karate guru who beat up Ichigo as a kid, and her friend that liked to grab her boobs.
You're on your own.
No,
Go ahead.
yeah. The thing with Tatsuki is I think that I just put them together because they had a really weird relationship that I feel like they were still friends, but I feel like it was one of those that she was more. I don't know. I just put them together kind of randomly because they did get along well, and I know that they took part in the where they were awake when everybody else was asleep, when the world was, or when the town was taken to the Soul Society for a little while. So I could see them both like developing their own powers throughout this, and I don't know why I put them together. I just kind of put them together.
And suddenly, the person who has sneakers that, when they get dirtier, has powers doesn't seem nearly as ridiculous as a girl grabbing somebody else's chest. But yeah, I guess I can co-sign onto that. That it would be a red flag for me though. In some cases.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of a random pairing. They're honorable mention for that reason, though. They don't, because they aren't as main character that much of main characters as the series goes on. Besides a few times where they appear to cheer Ichigo on or one of the other characters on for a little while, they're honorable mentions.
I remember one of them was sitting next to Orihime while she was eating a loaf of bread for lunch.
That would probably be Tatsuki. She's always there for lunch, and sometimes Chizuru was there when I think they did a picnic episode, and so that might have been that one as well.
All right, but I guess I can co-sign. I co-sign, but I don't think I'm gonna like one of these characters when I rewatch Bleach.
No, but if you ever watch the new series, so far she's not in it.
Okay, but yeah, I can co-sign.
All right, your next one.
All right, from Persona 5, Ryuji and Mask Girl.
Mask Girl.
Okay, you've seen the anime, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember during the school festival when they were going through the haunted house and Ren grabbed the girl and tried to unmask her, but Ryuji smacked Ren upside the head and the girl ran off?
Mm-hmm.
That girl.
Okay.
And I just think it would be funny in the sense of the girl runs off and at some point she thinks to herself, Sakamoto or Ryuji ended up saving me, and she thinks Ren is just this monster. It's like who tries to grab somebody without their permission? And she basically just fawns over Ryuji. Heck, she could even do it in her still in costume, and Ryuji's like, "What she talk? Oh, her. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but she's." In all honesty, it'd just be nice because nobody really treats Ryuji all that nicely in the anime. So just one person to be like, I think you're really cool and you saved me. It could lead to some funny yet ridiculous stuff.
I could see it. It's just like she's always in the background when like the group's around trying to like pretty much trying to get the courage to speak to Ryuji the entire time.
Yeah, and I thought about saying On maybe he's the person who's like, Ryuji, go for it. But at the same time, I could also see On being like,
Just not happy about it at all.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, because she would be the person to notice, oh, she likes you, because I don't see Futaba picking up on it. I don't see Yusuke picking up. I don't see any of the other Phantom Thieves picking up on it, because I love them all, but most of them are pretty dense.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing them.
Yeah, but I had to call her Mask Girl because I don't think she has a name outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, she's only in like that one scene, so just having her in the background for like the rest of the scene.
Which is why it kind of makes sense as a what the hell, why are you shipping this? I'm like, that's the purpose of this video, so sue me.
I could see it being like, okay, and for the end, like if it was in the game, it's like if you actually like manage to catch her as with Ryuji as near you, you unlock her as a extra person, as an extra Phantom Thief, and her Phantom Thief or her persona is so powerful that it just like destroys everything and wins. This is the ultimate cheat code.
Oh god, it's just like, oh, so we beat the game, and it's barely October, and it's barely March. What do we do now? I don't know.
It's just like an Igor's or the imposter Igor's just like, okay, I've been defeated. Okay, run.
Just he's the only one. I mean, he jumps through the velvet room, and there's a giant silhouette of him through the wall. It's like, wait, how are there walls in this place? It's a giant fantasy structure of forget it. Never mind. But anyways, Ryuji and the girl he saved from that monster Ren.
Okay. As I said, I'll co-sign. I think this would end up really interesting.
This might be my favorite one so far.
All right. So my next one.
Go for it.
So I want to know this one. I know you'll be able to talk about, and this one might have been hinted at. I'm just from where I'm at in the series, it hasn't been hinted at all. Soul Marin and Manga Swing from Black Clover.
I mean, let me put it this way. Hey, in terms of romance, it's only been hinted by the fan base, so technically this doesn't count.
Okay, this would be one of those where they're both tsundere towards each other and absolutely in public absolutely seem to hate each other, and yet would probably care for each other so deeply away from like everybody. She's just like, you're a man and I hate that. And then he's like, well, you're not strong enough. You need to man up. And just they have this randomly like almost not not abusive, but like argumentative relationship.
I could definitely see that in some cases, especially since at some point the Blue Roses all just admit, wait, we can stop hating men now? Oh, thank God, I've had a boyfriend for so long, and one of them's like, so Soul, what about you and that delinquent commoner? And she's just like, ew, no, no.
Yeah, but that's just like whenever they talk about each other, it's like that in public. But then whenever they get together, it's just like there's just something like they're completely different with when they're with each other.
I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that. I thought about putting a Black Clover or parent on this list, but I'm also terrified because, like we said, shipping gets kind of scary sometimes.
That's kind of why I avoided the main characters because
Oh,
those I don't. I yeah.
I understand. I understand, but in a future video, I'm going to have to address it. And honestly, whatever happens, happens, y'all. But yeah, I can co-sign it. I can kind of see it in some aspects.
All right. So your last honorable mention?
All right, the last honorable mention and the last one on my list are. You'll be able to talk about both of these, and this one I just really just threw at the wall.
Okay.
Nendo and Teruhashi from Psyche K.
Okay.
Think the most perfect pretty girl who deep down is a horrible, mean-spirited person, and the delinquent who looks like a total jerk but is actually the nicest guy on the planet. In all honesty, it could kind of work, just in the sense of Nendo finds a way to make Teruhashi nicer, more pleasant to be around, all while they get together, and Nendo's like, "Oh well, if we can double date with my best buddy Psyche," and Psyche's just like, "Leave me alone." So Psyche just ends up getting stuck with both of them nowadays, rather than just one of them. And honestly, it could just make for a hilarious set of episodes, and even some pretty heartwarming moments.
I could see it. But the one thing is that he would have Nendo would have to call her my best girl buddy. Like he doesn't call her. Me. Yeah, he doesn't call her his girlfriend. He just keeps calling her best girl buddy.
I could see that. I honestly could see that. And the whole time, do you remember Yumahara, the girl who likes romance and all that other jazz?
It's like the brownish blondish hair, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
And the whole time, Teruhashi could still like Psyche beforehand, but Yumahara sees it's like, oh, she and Nendo might have something going, so she tries to force them together, and it never really works. But Psyche's like, all right, let me see what I can do, because apparently one of his psychic powers is putting people together. Because I guess that's necessary.
But his powers don't work on Nendo, so that's kind of why Nendo doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah, but plus just seeing the reactions of everybody who was in love with Teruhashi, only to realize you lost to Nendo. I love Nendo, but you lost to Nendo. Nendo.
Yeah, and if there was ever a time skip, the kids look exactly like Nendo.
Gee. Sure. Why not? Traumatize our audience, why don't you?
Well, I mean, we've already seen that his genetics are like very strong because he looks just like his mother, right?
His mother and his dad, even though his mom and his dad aren't related, which oddly enough, if they were related, that would somehow make more sense, which I really don't even want to think about.
But they have Teruhashi's aura, the gold aura that you see around her.
Oh my god, that's horrible. But now I kind of want this. It needs to be canon.
Oh, it's just it's like he's just trying to get away from them, so he's just trying to put them together to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and then everyone shows up. It's not, dude, we're all going out on date night. And Psyche's like, yeah, but I'm single. Bye. Just shuts the door.
They're like, "Don't worry, we're not going to consider you a third wheel."
He's just miserable. I feel like this was equal parts, oh, this would actually be kind of sweet because Teruhashi becomes better, but it was also just torturing Psyche, which, honestly, he can't blame us for that. The show's been doing that for years.
Exactly. But yeah, that will be an interesting one. I definitely think it would piss off most of the fan base, which I love, and would be amazing.
That's just the icing on the cake, my friends. But what's your last honorable mention before people start unsubscribing?
So this one is Magma and Nikki Hanada from Dr. Stone. They're both kind of on have start off as antagonists and eventually start working with the Kingdom of Science, which is the good guys, I guess, in the series. Magma is this over aggressive guy who pretty much just wanted to become the village chief by marrying the daughter of the current chief, and he wins the and to do it, they're doing a fighting competition. Who's the strongest gets to win. He ends up losing. Nikki works for the Sukasa Empire, which is all about strength and wanting to rebuild the world in a with a younger viewpoint. So they're destroying the stat of the stone bodies of all the older people. But she turns traitor when she realizes that the Kingdom of Science is working to preserve aspects of the world, such as the beauty and the arts, and changes sides. But she's got this kind of aggressive. She's a punk from the previous world with the sensitive side. She really liked the famous pop star that they managed to save one of her songs via the father of the main character. So I could see them once they get together at the end of season 2. It's just like she's like pretty much they're like a perfect match. They're both big, strong people with an aggressive side, but she uses like her sensitive side to get under Magma's skin and just kind of change his view a little bit on the world.
Yeah, I still admittedly haven't given Dr. Stone a chance, and like I said, I still don't know what it is, but for some reason the show just doesn't completely it doesn't completely do it for me. Maybe that'll change someday, but I can co-sign. I can co-sign. I think based on everything I've heard, I think it could work out.
Yeah, I need to get ready because I know season 3 just started, so they're and I don't know if it's going to be 12 episodes or 24, like because they've done both of those again, and it's a weird order because it was 24 season 1 and 12 season 2. It's usually the opposite.
Do they at least do the thing where it's like, oh, this is season 2, part 1? Do they at least do that?
No, it's because this is labeled as season 3, and season 2 was only 12 episodes, so it's really weird. It's like because normally season 1s are 12 episodes, and then season 2 gets longer if it's successful.
That's so confusing. Then again, I can't really talk because Psyche K's first 2 seasons were 24 episodes, and its third season was 2 episodes.
Are they at least like longer?
Nope. And then we got like 6 episodes for, I guess you could say, season 4, but I don't know. But like I said, I guess I can't really talk on that. But I can co-sign. They sound like they would work together.
Yeah, and again, this might end up being a couple. I just don't know because I don't know what happens after season 2. That's all I'm seeing so far, even of the manga. So I don't know what happens after that.
Yeah, but I guess I can co-sign. So should I do my last one?
Go right ahead.
This was one of the hardest ones because I couldn't come up with all 8, but I just had to throw these 2 together. Android 21 and Yamcha.
Okay.
Yeah, once again, read the title of this video. What did you expect? But in all seriousness, I kind of start to think to myself, maybe she shows up and she realizes, wait a minute, you're the one Dr. Jerome almost killed, right? And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry about him. And because Android 21, besides her psychotic, terrifying tendencies, is actually seems like a really kind-hearted person once you get to know her, based on a lot of the media we've seen. And as for Yamcha, well, honestly, I feel like she would just appreciate how Yamcha's kind of simple. And I don't mean that in necessarily a bad way, but sometimes when people see like somebody, it could just be a case of he's just him. And I kind of appreciate that.
I can understand it. It's an interesting pairing. I've only seen a little bit with Android 21 because there's so I don't want to say so little, but it's so she's only in like the side animes like was it Dragon Ball's not superhero it was Dragon Ball Super something that they did,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's I know I think she was in like the web series, and I know there's a girl who likes Yamcha in the web series. But I honestly don't even know her name, and I've looked it up, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is. She seems nice, but if I save the two of them, that defeats the purpose of this video.
Yeah, I can understand that. This is just a I I like the idea, but I also kind of want Yamcha to remain forever alone.
No, but yeah, fun fact about that. Apparently, when they broke up Bulma and Yamcha originally, both Bulma and Yamcha's Japanese actors were really, really confused by that because it's like I don't know, it kind of seemed like in a way they were going to work. Now, of course, we have Vegeta and Bulma, and they're great, but to me, I guess it's kind of a case of if the voice actors themselves have kind of shown that they're a bit confused and maybe even a little annoyed at that, then I'm like, let's just give Yamcha something, because what else does he have?
Yeah, because he doesn't even get invited to the Tournament of Power. I mean, you would think that scene would be is from the uh, God. Well, is that abridged?
What are you
I can't
talking?
remember.
What the scene where they're like, "Hey guys, it's me, Yamcha. I'm here for the tournament." And they're like, "Oh, Yamcha's here," that sort of thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
No, it's not an abridged. It might as well be an abridged clip, but it's surprisingly it's not.
yeah. I mean, he's literally the laughing stock. I mean, I think they would have thought of Chaozu before they thought of Yamcha.
God damn. No, but in all honesty, just to give Yamcha a win. Not to mention, even though he could see this, oh, she's a scientist, so she's super rich and everything. But he'd still be like, hey, I know you can basically do everything, but I still want to protect you. I still want to help, even if I can't do that much, because that's basically Yamcha. Even if he can't do that much, he still tries, and in a sense, she could like really grow to love him for that.
Yeah, I mean, he openly admits that how much weaker he is in the start of the Android saga, and yet he still shows up to fight and try to save the world as best he can. But again, I wish that they had shown them learning like Kaioken and all that, so at least they could have been on par with uh, Goku from the kind of end of the Saiyan saga. I think that would have been good. It would have given Yamcha, Tien, Chatsu, and Krillin a bit more power earlier in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, though to be fair, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I don't know how much it would have helped in the long run. But I do agree with you. It's just the case of I'm like, oh god, would they still have gotten stomped at some point? Probably yes.
Then we could have also had all of them turn into androids. Doctor Android 21 just keeps like, oh, you died. Well, we can bring you back with the Dragon Balls, or I could turn you into androids.
Honestly, I'd be okay with that.
The rest of the Z fighters are just androids now.
Yeah, I mean, being humans isn't clearly isn't working out for them, but still, Android 21 and Yamcha, completely random. Probably didn't think about it, but that's kind of the point.
All right, you ready for my last one?
Let's do it.
I put Ryo and Akira from Food Wars together. So this is I've talked about them as both being rivals to Soma in the first major tournament because Akira wins the tournament and uh, due to his intense sense of smell, and Ryo and Soma tie for second place. I could see them both because both of them have dealt with Alice Nakari, one of the kind of side characters where she kind of just controls their lives. Ryo is her assistant, and then Akira kind of gets pulled into several of Alice's schemes. I could see them working, like, just they start building a relationship on kind of not necessarily hating her, but like, she just kind of uses us kind of thing. And going from there, yes, this is actually two guys I put together, but I think it's perfectly
love
fine.
is love. Love is love, man. I don't care.
And I kind of wanted to pull Akira away from, because a lot of people put him with one of the teachers because she rescued him from the slums and in a third world country, and she looks young because she's like 5 foot, but she's like the same age as all the parents in the series. So it's
dear.
like, yeah. So that's why I was like, no. He views her as his mentor, mother figure, and develops a relationship with one of his classmates. So that when the time skip happens at the very end of the main series of the manga, they can get together and show up to Soma's restaurant and all that. And I think it'd be a cute little moment for them.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of see that. I do have some recollection of you talking about these characters, and they do seem like in some cases they might actually work together. And like I've said, I don't care if it's two guys, two girls. I don't care. If
No.
Are they happy? Cool. Let's move on.
Exactly. So, and they both just have the competitiveness that I could see them like in the kitchen. Like it's just we're having a random Thursday and both of them want to try to cook, and they just have a competition. They both provide each other with a 4-course meal, trying to outdo the other.
I could see that. And then it's like, hey, what about those other two people? Those two wizards or whatever who are drinking themselves under the table? Yeah, I don't know who let them in.
Exactly.
But no, I can definitely co-sign. To this completely random yet still seemingly likable ship.
Yep. So, well, I mean, that's kind of it. These were very random, as best as we could, I think.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Some of these, the more I talk about them, the more I'm like, dang, maybe not so much. But I still like the other randomness of it. And some of you might be thinking in some cases, well, I want this person to be with this other person. I'm like, yeah, but that's not the point. Oh, why would he end up with this person? She's not the childhood friend. It said, and I'd be like, the childhood friend? And it's just the childhood friend, not lose. It didn't say which childhood friend. He could just be like, yeah, she's my childhood friend's childhood friend. Technically that works. I win. But that's the purpose of this video. Just taking two random characters and just throwing them together and seeing what happens. Whether it's Kankuro and TenTen, Lisia and Wally, or just anything else we can come up with, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, this video was harder than it sounds like to come up with random people, because a lot of animes end with people getting together, so it's kind of hard to put different people together.
Yeah, I gave you crap about doing the video where we're like, oh, these are the characters that best represent you or best represent me, that sort of thing. But it took me months to do this list. I'm just like, oh, this would be a cute idea. And I'm like, I have nothing. What do I do?
Yeah, I mean, I put most of this list together last minute, but I had some of these ideas already for kind of together. It was just kind of trying to remember and get them all down at once.
Yeah, and just know that we don't really care what your opinions on this are. Just as long as you're cool about it, we don't care. So please, don't jump in the comments and start screaming. This was supposed to be a fun video. Now, if we ever did a video about characters who should have gotten together, oh boy, that's gonna be a tough one.
Exactly, because that's gonna be more probably focused on actual ships that are either popular or known in the franchise versus what we've done here.
There's a good chance I might just turn off the comments on that video because I don't trust some of y'all.
Yeah, that's...
but anyways, guys, who are some random anime characters from the same franchise that you'd like to see maybe end up together? Whether it's a long-term relationship, short-term, whether it's funny, heartwarming, just anything along those lines.
Exactly. And, I mean, if you feel that these characters deserve someone else in the anime, I guess you could always put that, but do try to keep it friendly in the comments. We know how shipping can be.
Yeah, keep it friendly and try and keep it fun, too. This video was meant to be kind of ridiculous, and we're meant to be kind of ridiculous. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe, but please be nice to each other in the comments, and we will see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.